Hello, I'm here with Kelley Mulhern of Thrive Chiropractic. Thank you, Kelley, for meeting with us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
So, Kelley, Dr. Kelley, tell me a little bit about Thrive Chiropractic.
Sure. So we took over an existing chiropractic practice about 2 years ago. Actually, August 9th will be our 2-year anniversary here. So my husband, Michael, is the practice manager, and I'm the doctor on site. And it's, the two of us running this practice and just trying to make a difference in our community and offering comprehensive and wellness services to our community.
And when and why did you get into the field of chiropractic?
Oh, my. I have been a wellness-minded person probably my whole life. I grew up in a family that was very allopathic. My great-grandfather was a medical doctor. All of the females on both sides of the family, I think, were nurses at one point in time. And I was the weird kid that if I fell down off my bike or something, had a bump or a bruise, they would try to give me aspirin and I wouldn't take it. And I can remember being 6, 7 years old and my family like, why won't she take the aspirin? and in my head it just didn't make sense. But when I was really introduced to chiropractic, I was in my mid-20s and was suffering from chronic and awful migraines. I was getting them 2 to 3 times a week, and I did that for a couple of years, and I wouldn't take any medication because it just didn't make sense. I just tried to deal with it the best I could, and my social life dwindled to nothing, and I was pretty miserable. But I met a chiropractor through my job, and we became friends, and a couple of years into my migraines, I finally complained to her about them, and she said, I could help you if you would just let me. And I didn't get it. I didn't understand how her jumping on my back was going to help my head. And when she started to talk to me about the central nervous system and how your brain and your spinal cord control and coordinate every function of your body every second of every day, it just made sense. It made sense in a way nothing else had. And I can remember having this flash of excitement, like, oh my God, I finally found my people. There's a whole profession that believes the way that I think. And then that was followed closely by anger. I was so mad that nobody had ever explained to me that chiropractic was an option or really what chiropractors did. And so my first adjustment, I went to her in the middle of a migraine, and now I know that my migraines were almost completely caused by nerve irritation due to a spinal misalignment, and so she performed the adjustment and my migraine disappeared immediately, like somebody had turned off the light switch. And so I started getting adjusted and regularly adjusted, and it was a process, but it changed my life. 6 months later, I can remember talking to her and saying, my headaches are gone, and that's amazing. It's changed my life, but I don't get sick anymore. I haven't had bronchitis in 6 months. I haven't had pneumonia in 6 months. I'm sleeping better. And she just said, it's all about the nervous system. It controls and coordinates everything that your body does. And if there's irritation to that nervous system, your body will not function the way that it should. And if we can remove that irritation and let your brain run your body the way that it knows how to, that's when healing happens, and that's when we see amazing, cool things. And go ahead.
I was just going to say, wow, that is an inspiring story.
Thank you. And so it must have been, I think I was with her about 2 years, and at the time I was juggling a full-time job and 2 part-time jobs and just trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up. And because the 3 jobs I was doing, I could have done any one of them for the rest of my life, but that's just not where my heart was. And I kind of thought to myself, if I could do anything, and I didn't have to answer to anyone, and there was no barrier, there was nothing standing in my way, what would I do? And I knew that I wanted to do what she did. And fast forward now, almost 20 years later, here I am in my practice with my husband, and I've had 5 patients that I know of go on and become chiropractors themselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Thanks.
So what would you say is your favorite part of your work?
Oh, my God, that is such a hard question. I love what I do, and I tell people I get to see miracles every single day. I love the variety in terms of I could have 100 people lined up that have the same, quote, low back pain or headaches or whatever, but everybody would have a different cause and everybody would have a different path to get to better health. So for me, it's like a big puzzle and finding those answers, but I think my favorite part has to be when I have those patients come in who've been everywhere and they've been struggling with something for weeks, months, years sometimes, and they just haven't found the answers or the help that they needed. And when I'm able to provide that for them, that's probably one of the best feelings in the world. And of course, when somebody's not quite that chronic or even desperate, just somebody who says, you know what, this is where I am right now, and I'm not happy with this, and I want to make a change, and I'm looking for somebody to help guide me through this process, because the field of wellness has exploded in the last 20 years, and that's a very good thing, but it also leads to a lot of confusion for people. They don't quite know where to go and when to go and how to proceed, and having somebody that can kind of take them by the hand and help them navigate that field can be super important, and so I find that really rewarding as well. So I can't really pick one, but those are some of my favorite parts of my job.
Well, I could see why. That makes sense. And the variety, I'm sure, keeps it really interesting.
It does.
So it was kind of a little of a segue to switch topics up a little bit, in that helping people find solutions. And you're a member of the Holistic Network. Why did you join Holistic Network International?
And you're right. That is an unintentional but great segue, because that's really the reason. I am always looking for ways to expand my network, because when patients come to me, at the end of the day, I recognize that I am not always the answer for them, and chiropractic is not always the answer for them. So my process is I do a very thorough intake. I'll spend an hour with a patient their first time here. That's time with me, where I do their history and I do their exam. I take x-rays if we need to. And then we schedule them for a second time, and in between those two appointments, I'm reviewing their record, I'm analyzing their x-rays, all to decide, are they really a good fit for chiropractic? Because if I'm not the right answer for them for whatever reason, I'm not going to keep them here. So trying to figure out, okay, if I have a patient that chiropractic isn't the answer for, then I need to have a group of holistic practitioners kind of at my fingertips that I've met, that I trust, that I would entrust a patient to, and really just learning more about all these different options out there. And so that's why I joined Holistic Network, was to be able to meet like-minded holistic providers that have options and solutions that I don't have. And
what would you say is the greatest benefit for you of being a member?
I would say it's the networking. The monthly meetings are fantastic. Unfortunately, my office schedule has changed to where I can't get to them in person as much as I want to. Having the dial-in option is fantastic as well. But being able to go and meet people and learn more about what they do and get those business cards to where I can either set up more time to meet them one-on-one, to learn more about what they do, and they can learn more about who we are, and just being able to kind of put names and faces together so that when I have a patient that needs a service that one of them has, I can be that resource and make that connection.
Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, what do you think, or what do you believe is a key challenge facing chiropractors today?
I would say education is probably still to this day. I mean, chiropractic has been around since 1895, and in that time, we've done a great job with a lot of things inside our profession. But at the end of the day, if we take 1,000 people off the street and we ask them, what does a chiropractor do? We're probably going to get 1,000 different answers. And so we haven't done a great job educating the masses. We educate one-on-one, and that's wonderful, but in terms of educating the population as a whole, and where that becomes problematic is that at any given point in time, depending on which research you read, only 5 to 8% of the population is under the care of a chiropractor, which I find tragic, because I know the changes it's brought in my own life and in the lives of my patients, and it just saddens me to think that there's 90+% of the population are walking around not experiencing the kind of health that they could. And so I think, really educating people that what do we do and that why do we do it and how do we do it, that it's not a quick fix, that you shouldn't expect to just come in and get an adjustment and go out the door without an exam. It's your central nervous system that we're working with, and I would never go to a chiropractor that said, oh, come on in, no exam, no x-rays, let me just adjust you. But it happens. We get calls like that all the time.
Yeah.
And it blows my mind. So it just, to me, really underscores that people just don't know what they don't know. And if they don't know, they can't make a good decision. So education, I think, is really the biggest challenge.
Well, Dr. Kelley, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat and meet with me this morning. Is there anything else before we go that you would like to add?
I guess I would just encourage people to go to our website. On our website, we have a box that they can click on to be added to our mailing list. And what we've done is we set out just one email a month, so their inboxes aren't flooded. And it's topic specific, so every month we pick a different topic and we give some brief health tips around that topic. I think this month it was sleep. So many people struggle with being able to get enough rest. So we gave some very specific action items that people could do, and then at the end of every one is a healthy recipe and links to some complimentary ebooks that people can download and read through. So it's a great resource, so I would just encourage people to go to that website. Is it okay if I give it?
Sure.
Okay, it's Thrive, THRIV as in Victor, E, Chiro, CHIRO, F as in Frank, L as in Larry.com. So thrivechirofl.com. And again, they can just click on that link to be added to our mailing list to get that healthy recipe and wellness tips every month.
Thank you for sharing that, and thank you again for taking time to meet this morning.
Well,
Dr. Kelley Mulhern of Thrive Chiropractic.
Thank you so much.